On this podcast, we talk a lot about the habits of successful entrepreneurs. And what's so important are those small daily routines. And one of those for me is AG1. I mix one scoop with water first thing in the morning, drink it, and I move on with my day knowing I'm getting my vitamins and probiotics so that I can feel my best. When you use my exclusive link, you'll get bonuses for free, like my favorite travel packs. It's an easy habit with a big win. Go to shop.drinkag1.com/vine.
You're listening to Nothing Small About Business, where big thinking meets real world action. Ready to level up? Let's get into it.
Today's guest is such a fun one, you guys. He's an entrepreneur and DJ who turned a teenage passion into a thriving business. He started DJing at 16 and later spent nearly a decade as a chemical engineer, and in 2023 made the leap to focus full time on his DJ companies. Today, he runs two brands, Engage Entertainment, a luxury DJ experience, and My Way DJ, a more affordable option. Today, we're talking all about landing a contract to DJ the Waste Management Golf Tournament, how he balances offering both luxury and affordable options, and why bringing the right vibe to your events can make or break them. Tyler Sherman, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sarah. I really appreciate it. Love what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, so so my listeners know, I was scrolling Instagram one night, like many do, and I'm a huge fan of remixes. And yours popped up in my feed, and I was like listening to it, and they were so good. And I've got daughters, we're big Taylor Swift fans, and so that's what stopped me. And I was like, this would make for a great podcast because then I was learning more about your story. So,
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, it was fun to jump into that and do the whole social reel thing. We everyone's I would see them all the time, and I have friends send me them all the time, and I'm like, man, I can do these. Like I see there's great ones, there's bad ones out there, and I thought
mhm.
like, man, I think I can do this really well, and it took me a little bit to figure out the niche that I wanted to jump into right away, which was pop punk music, from my junior high, early high school days, and then of course Taylor Swift, which I am a huge fan of. And it was fun to reimagine, if she made any of her music into more rock style pop punk albums, which there are a few that are close, but to give some of us millennials some nostalgia.
Right. I love hearing that, like a newer song and then it jumping back. And, with my kids too, I love when they start bringing back those throwback songs. And I'm like, you guys, I listened to this.
Right.
Okay. So before we jump into all things about your DJ company and the huge things that you're doing with it, can you walk me through a little bit? Because you have an interesting story where you had a very different corporate career. And
Yes.
then one of those where people were probably like, wait, what? You're also a DJ? So talk to
I
me
know.
through what that period was.
It was always funny because every time someone who knew me as a DJ would also hear that I was an engineer, they'd be like, "No way! Like I know engineers. They're awkward. They're weird. Whatever." And then on the reverse side, all my old coworkers or friends from college, whatever, who went the engineering route, did felt the same way in reverse. So yeah, it was. I've been DJing since 16, throwing teen parties and then into college frat events and then opening for artists. I went to Arizona State University here in Arizona. I am born and raised in Arizona, and yeah, was able to get a good foothold of concerts and events in that realm. Even before that, I was in a pop punk band, playing keyboard and synthesizer and running. So live events have been a big part of my life since I think 13. Even before that, playing piano. So yeah, DJing my whole career, using it as a fun hobby, a fun outlet creatively. I knew I still wanted a real career, if you will,
Yeah.
and as we all think when we're 18 that we have to go get a real job, or at least we're told that. And I did really fall in love with chemistry early on, and went to ASCU for chemical engineering, both getting my undergrad and master's there, getting into the semiconductor industry that's huge here in Phoenix for almost 10 years, working in chemicals, just process engineering, all that fun stuff. And I loved it. I mean, a lot of fun challenges, a lot of really smart people I get to work with. But in 2019 or so, actually, a friend from college convinced me, hey, she was managing three wedding venues at the time, and just said, hey, Tyler, we're getting such crappy DJs coming through these venues. Can you please start DJ or doing weddings, please? And as a 20 something, you think, oh, weddings are the most lame thing. What do I got to play the cha-cha slide like
All
all the
right,
time? Like I want to play
chicken
at the bar.
dance.
Yeah, I want to play at the bars and chase girls and get free drinks. But at that point in my life, it was really a time where, hey, I was willing to try this and for a friend. And so then I quickly realized, wait, I can make what doing doing this? I was, maybe getting paid 200-300 bucks for a gig in the past, and then I could charge well over a grand early on, and that grew. And so then demand grew. I started adding on a few DJs from my team who I trusted and I really liked, and it just has grown since there to where in 2023, as you mentioned, my day job was really holding me back from the growth of this entertainment business that I had started.
Yeah, and I hear a lot that they say if you're wanting to follow your passion, you don't have to go all in on day one. Like build it up on the side. Wait until you have all of your ducks, mostly in a row so that you're not stressing about putting food on the table and paying your rent. Like you can build it up simultaneously. And you're going to know when, like you said, when your day job is what's holding you back from growing.
You are, yeah, on not over leveraging. Very much on the Dave Ramsey plan early on, and now that's may have shifted as we get older. But I do agree. I think that you don't need to bet the farm. You can start slow. You can be meticulous, and maybe the other people in your life that rely on your income, spouse, kids, whatever, don't have to take on that risk either.
Hmm. So, how did you then, once you started focusing on this and becoming more and more popular, how did you start landing some of these bigger gigs?
Yeah, that was kind of a continuation of my career from my 20s, where I really starting I was in the programming and activities board at ASU, so I was already a part of these larger 10,000 plus people events, getting to know all of the individuals at like all the officials at ASU for athletics. So I did 3 years of in-state ASU basketball, DJing in the arena. I started doing the welcome concerts at ASU that would, they'd bring in an artist like Kesha or the All American Rejects or, Mac Miller one year to open this welcome concert. And they'd first have me start with, just play Doors to Show, just something to energize it up. And then they saw what I could do. And then they would give me intro slots. Then talent, the booker who was there could see me and say, oh, let's have you on for this show or that show. A producer who saw me, I've been working with her ever since for various shows. Whether the last we had a big New Year's event on Mill Avenue, New Year's block party, 30,000 people. I got a ring in the new year for that. Opening for big artists now like Kygo, Chainsmokers, Griffin, and that's been really fun to have both sides. It's For a while I didn't want to mix the weddings and the larger shows, and at this point in my life, I've really the business is so taking up so much of my time now that really I do enjoy investing my time in that. But hey, being a part of some big events like the Wasteman, or sorry, WM, they changed the name, WM Phoenix Open next week is also really fun and helps push my personal brand, which is so important in our in the DJing space as well.
Okay. So, as somebody who has never been in this world, what is it like when all of a sudden you're DJing for, opening up for chain smokers and Kesha? Like, what
Yeah.
is that like?
Yeah, that is very surreal. The adrenaline and endorphins are at an all-time max, almost to a point of blacking out, honestly. I can barely remember. What it takes is a lot of preparation. And so I'm a huge prep guy, very much type A, leading up to an event. So meetings and really understanding who's going to be there. As a DJ's job, I need to understand attendance. Hey, are these freshmen who are just all 18, 19? Are they a corporate crowd who maybe they just been on a conference floor for however long and they're ready to finally let loose a little bit? Opening for I've done that a few times for corporate events, and so it's that preparation to where then I don't have to worry as much. I can have a lot of it prepared ahead of time, so then I can focus on the show and the experience, which gives the result that has them keep bringing me back. And so it's very surreal. It's fun to get to meet and meet a lot of people in the industry, not only the artists but their artist management and all that. So it's
Yeah.
very surreal.
So there's two major things I got out of that that I think my listeners can really hone in on. And one is know who your customer is or know who your client is, which it sounds like you do a lot of prep work for that, which I would have never thought with DJing that it would change based on your demographic, but that makes total sense. So know your audience. And number two is networking. So you're doing these gigs and you're probably making some really good, strong relationships. And that's how you're getting all these future gigs and you're continuing to build on that. Is that correct?
Yeah, you hit it on the head, Sarah. It's not just going and partying and drinking and pre-gaming because that's what people expect. That's what people almost want to see from a DJ. You're bringing the party, and I can do that sober. I can do that without having this big crowd of people I need to host and maintain. Uh, it's it's taking the time to connect with everyone there possible, even down to people who you don't think that are as important. There's so many tech people involved in a larger show, from lighting to audio, and visuals on the screen to stage managers, and making sure that they all are getting what they want and you're not being overbearing. It's very easy as an
Hmm.
artist, or someone on a creative side, to be overbearing, to demand a lot. And really, I want to be as easy as possible for all of them, to connect with all of them, because word gets around. They go work for other companies. A lot of them are freelance, and they need, if you have a good reputation, they're going to explain that to other artists, or companies, etc. So the networking actually is more important than honestly, even sometimes the show at this point, just
Right.
because of yeah, it's who you know is your net worth.
Right. You're like, the show is the easy part. It's all the other things behind the scenes leading up to it. That's where the real work happens. And then you got to kind of just unload and have fun during the DJ part, I imagine.
It is a good release for sure.
Okay, one thing I'm so excited you just mentioned. So we're a huge golf family. I mentioned earlier my son goes to a golf academy. He's in high school. Like we follow golf now a lot more than we used to. One of my bucket list is the WM golf tournament that's in Arizona. So how did you land a contract like that, and what goes into an event like that?
Yeah. Oh man, what goes into an event? I mean, it is a they have I mean, so the Thunderbirds are the local charity organization that puts it on. They're kind of like a frat for multimillionaires in their 20s to 40s. And it's honestly, I mean, they do amazing work. I mean, they donate at the end of every year hundreds of millions of dollars to various charities around Arizona and the country after this event. But it is, so I first got introduced because there was a often a last minute need, as most of these are, and then you put your foothold in and show your worth, and you can grow inside of an organization with relationships, as we were discussing. And last minute they said, hey, we're doing this thing Saturday morning, that we're seeing all these, so on set on in waste management, there are many holes. There are many hospitality spaces, very large, setups, construction for suites, etc. And the 16th hole is a very short par three. I think it's 140 ish, and definitely hole in one able. And it just built this up to where it was a hole, or there was a hill where people would congregate over the years, and more people would show up. There's a really famous, I think, early 2000s hole in one by Tiger there. And it just grew and grew from there, as we got more people involved in the organization team to build that up more and more. And so now it's a fully surrounded arena stadium at this point.
It
And
looks wild. It looks so fun.
you can fit 30,000 people just in the grandstands around this hole. And imagine, teeing off when it's fully packed on the open week. It's very surreal. And so they're saying, hey, we've got about 3,000 seats of that 30,000 that are general admission. We're getting all these young kids, showing up at 5 in the morning to line up to get into these gates and run to the hole just to get these general admission seats that they'll sit in all day just to
All
watch some amazing
day.
golf. Yes. And so they said, hey, let's start. We want to entertain them this morning. We want to. So could you maybe make it out? And so actually, one of my contacts from other large events was helping out and said, hey, yeah, I know a local DJ. He can definitely help. I think that he would be the right guy. And so got the introduction and showed up, had a blast, played a bunch of stadium bangers and great music to for all the we got bachelor parties dressing up in all sorts of like crazy outfits or dresses or it's a lot of fun and people have a great time because the first pros aren't rolling through there until 10:30. The gates open at 7,
Okay.
so the bar doesn't open until 9. And so it's just giving them an opportunity to not get
Entertain the
too crazy.
people.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, it just grew from there, and now I'm doing things all over the course. Wednesday all day at the pro am. They bring a lot of celebrities out to raise money and to play alongside pros, which is really fun to be a part of. They just announced Travis Kelsey, by the way, is
Oh
going to
my
be
God.
playing. Yeah, I know on that, so that'll be fun. Maybe I'll shoot my shot to DJ the wedding. Um,
Absolutely. And if you
yes,
can, play some of those songs early in the morning, get those going, get on his radar, I think you
exactly.
have a chance.
My one that I think will work the best is I have a great mashup of So High School and Teenage Dirtbag, and that one I think will hit particularly well. So
Just put it on repeat.
I'll be shooting my shot for sure. But yeah, this event is. I mean, it brings hundreds of thousands of people a day to this course, and so it. I mean, they have road closures, they have fire and police involved. It is a massive. It is the largest regular event in Arizona that happens every year. Next to the Super Bowl when we get it every few years. But it's pretty unbelievable to be a part of.
Wow. And golf is such a sport that doesn't typically have that kind of party scene. You're not Normal tournaments are not having a DJ on the 16th hole. So this is like the Super Bowl of golf in a way where there's just so many events around it. So how cool that you can then, participate in that way and get the whole behind the
Exactly.
scenes look of it is super
It
fun.
it is, yeah, and gives and especially post COVID. I mean, the game has just grown so much, especially with younger people, and it's just shown in the success of the tournament as well. And PGA has shown it as a major milestone in their tour. So it's really great that Phoenix has it, and what a great time of year. February, it's freezing all around the rest of the country, and yet today it's a nice 74 for a high. So it's going to be a beautiful week next week, and I'm
Everyone's
so
in a good
stoked.
mood when it's sunny and warm. It makes for a great
Bingo.
experience.
It does,
Okay,
yeah.
so that kind of leads me into my other question I have for you is most of the time, small businesses and corporations are not doing something as large as this golf tournament. What are different things that you see that businesses do when they're bringing in a DJ like you just to like make the vibe better? Like what do you see as important aspects to having successful company events?
Yeah. So for those who study sales, emotion is such a major component of that. And what a better way to impact someone's emotion than bringing in entertainment, bringing in music that so subconsciously can really modify people's emotions, their mood, and everything from throwing me into a conference, booth that you have all week to motivate your staff, to motivate the customers that you have coming into the space, to obviously hospitality events and showing your all your customers or coworkers a really good time and giving them a reward. uh, is I think really vital in the sales process, in the cultivating of relationships, providing an environment that is very relaxing. And hey, maybe I can loosen the tie a little bit. I can be my more authentic self, as opposed to a more boardroom meeting style. And that is
Mhm.
really what bringing in great entertainment can really do for a company.
Yeah, for sure. And it makes it so much more fun when you're walking into a room feeling like, oh, okay, we're going to loosen up a little bit. We're going to have some fun with this, as opposed to walking into a stuffy room that you're supposed to be networking in or something.
Absolutely. That's dead silent. That's just like, oh man, like I can cut a knife through the air. Yeah, it's amazing how music can be so impactful just from the first moment. You're right. Like you walk in, that first impression can be everything of what your expectation is for the rest of the day or the night or the networking event or whatever part I'm part of.
So are you tailoring what your experience is and changing them for, all these different types of events?
We have
So
to.
Okay. So yeah, what does
Yeah.
that process look like? Are you getting all the demographics from them ahead of time?
Absolutely. So it's themes, it's demographics, it's what does the layout look like? Where am I located, positioned in the room? That can be so critical. What is the rentals? Are you bringing in lounge seating? Are you doing decor? All these things really matter to what I am then going to prepare from a set list standpoint to have ready for me. Because in a lot of environments, I may not have as good of internet as I'd like, where I can jump on, or again, I could focus more on the mixing and the crowd reading, the reading the room, as we like to say, to give that experience. And so, yeah, that all of that is so critical to me working with their event planners when preparing for any event.
Okay, so you're mentioning reading the room. Have you ever had an experience where you're like, okay, this isn't working, we need to pivot, or
All the
these
time,
people
yeah.
need to we
It's a
get some energy?
yeah, it's a sliding scale. It's sometimes you need to do left turns, and that can happen. There's things that are out of my control, whether people show up who aren't very much partiers or not wanting to dance, to maybe something happened, a glass spilled, or whatever, someone yelled, and it changes up the mood. And so what can I do from a musicality standpoint to adjust that and reset that in a space? And we have to do that. We have to be very spatially aware as DJs. That's part of our job, to keep the energy up, keep the excitement up, and ultimately, whether that's more bar sales, whether that's more sale closures, whether that's just a great experience as people are leaving the event, that's our job.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much that can make or break the whole experience for people. And
Absolutely.
like
And
you said,
that's from corporate side. I mean, that's not even an MC standpoint. We haven't even really talked about what is a huge part of my business now, which is weddings, of just the MC, very front facing element that we can take on as well. And as a very front facing vendor, a very on stage vendor, I mean, compared relatively to who makes the cake or who's bringing in the drapery. Your guests are going to see me. They're going to see me at the booth. They're going to see me talking, and that can be a huge impact.
Okay, so one thing that you mentioned before that I really want to get some info on, you said you're going into these high-end luxury weddings. What does that look like? How do you find these people, and what is that experience compared to what you used to be doing in the wedding area?
Yeah, sure. So I started off, and no judgment. Everyone has different budgets. There's such a wide range here. I got married 6 years ago, and I think we spent maybe 21 grand on in total for our reception, and that was perfectly fine. I'm happily married, and that was a great experience. But and I started out in environments where I was personally charging, $1,200, $1,400 maybe as a DJ doing a wedding, and that's a 6 hour event, really a 10-hour day for me, including driving, setting up, tearing down. And over time, as demand increases, as I really flat leverage networking in the Arizona market, which we do have a very destination element to Arizona. A lot of people maybe have vacationed in Scottsdale, maybe their parents have relocated from somewhere like the Midwest.
Chicago?
We got
Yeah,
lots of Chicago people here too. I mean, so much that Portillo's is all over the place, among many others. We have the Cubs spring training here, with
I
a
love
really big facility.
it.
So they see Arizona as a great destination market for them to come and have a destination wedding. So there's definitely some more affluence that comes, and as I networking, showcasing my abilities to these planners who attract those style, whether that's just price point for higher end planners, etc. That's where I've been a part of some really amazing events. Just even in June, I think I was a part of a wedding at an Omni in Scottsdale, Paradise Valley area that was well over $1 million for the budget for the day. And so I
Wow.
right to spend that much on really about an 8 hour event can be pretty mind blowing. But when you
Like
add in 450 people, a band and a DJ, many things, it can add up.
what how fun to be part of that experience and get to see, you know, look into the door of some of those opportunities.
100%. And then and on top of that, they're beautiful events. The floral installs on these, the lighting that I can bring in from an entertainment company, the just it all comes together to where then the content afterwards is so critical. A lot of as you may have seen, a very common trend in weddings now is to actually bring in content creators as well. So girls who are capturing content, even typically on just a really nice phone, and dumping all of that to the couple afterwards, making some great reels, and just having some great content for us as wedding vendors as well. That is so critical for us to showcase what our companies can do and advertise to future couples as well.
Wow. See, weddings have really changed. I got married in 2009 and I don't even think we had Pinterest. I didn't even use anything like this. It's so
And I
wild to see how it's evolved.
it is. I feel like Meta knows the exact moment you're engaged now. Like they know, and they just start dumping you with reels and even TikToks of the cold sparks for the big entrances, the like the club looking signs for your wedding party as they're coming in for the grand entrance. The
I
and like you.
swear they know without, I will have a thought in my head. This happened the other day. I was thinking, I'm like, oh, it'd be so fun to go dancing. No joke. One of the reels 5 minutes later was this like all women's daytime dance party in Wicker Park. I was like, how do they know?
That's amazing. Yeah, it's really cool. And honestly, it just creates a better experience for all of us using the internet, and as businesses to leverage that for when we open up our advertising budgets as well. So it's pretty amazing what they can do now.
Right. So your business is very interesting because you have two components. You have two companies. They're both DJ companies. In a sense, they could compete with each other, but it sounds like they're two very different markets. So
Yeah,
how does that
absolutely.
work?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So in this very 1099 type contractor environment with DJing, we all have our personal brands that we're pushing, and that's the larger shows, that's the specialty, maybe EDM events, or just opening for various artists. And then yeah, I run a luxury brand and affordable brand. Really, I've been driving the luxury brand, booking myself as well as other DJs who are all working on their personal brands as well in that space. And last year, I had the thought of, hey, I really need a better pipeline for my talent, and also I really know how to run a DJ business as well. I already have a lot of the systems in place, so why don't I start an affordable brand? I've seen other guys do it across the country, and mentored with some of those people, and ultimately opened it up early last year, and it's been really successful as well. And so now that's a way for me to truly create a baseline training program to then have them get experience, and then cherry pick from there to then elevate into the upper brand as well, where the margins are even better. So it's
Okay.
it gives me more events, it gives me more mass to then bring on some of my DJs to be able to do other things like sales, do scheduling, some warehouse management. So that has been really beneficial as well.
And have you ever seen any conflict with where a client's coming in and if they're which brand they're going for? Does that ever happen?
I mean, they may inquire, but their budget is very clear on which one will make sense for them. So yeah, maybe there's maybe one out of every 100 inquiries that may happen. But just a really quick explanation. If you just need a DJ for your wedding, this is My Way DJs is the way to go. If you are looking for a very elevated, customized, superior experience with someone who's going to make you song edits, who's really going to be a really superior mixer, someone who will make you edits if you so choose. I get some pretty picky brides, and I love that, to where they say, I want to walk down the aisle and hit the top of the aisle right at this exact mark of the song. I want to make these edits, these versions. That's not a problem to me. It's not a problem to my luxury team because we do that every day.
Hmm.
For My Way DJs, price point wise, all that, it's a little different world.
Got it. And I love that you are a DJ and now you're managing and growing other DJs, which is a huge part of growing a business. We own an optometry practice, and now it's not just my husband that's the eye doctor. There's three other eye doctors there as well. And that's the whole point of growing your business, right? It's like you can't be everywhere, but if you can train people and get the model going where you can send people out and be doing multiple events in a night, that's where you're going to make a lot of the money. So,
Absolutely.
how have you found that part of the business, learning something completely different than actually DJing?
Yeah, and they didn't teach me that in engineering school either, you better believe it.
I bet they
Um,
didn't.
so yeah, that's been a very big trial and error. I never worked for another, we call them multi-ops. So I never worked for another DJ company with, any kind of official training program. So it was slow and steady, but really getting to know a lot of other of my peers across the country, even, locally in Arizona, knowing other DJs, and then knowing other owners and other businesses, understanding best known practices, going to conferences, listening to podcasts. I mean, all of that has been extremely helpful in me understanding what it takes to not only find the right type of people and the right type of business model that makes sense for me, but then the trial and error on the other end of just, hey, I'm realizing, hey, so perfect example in 2020, we obviously events blew up, or rather, all shut down, and then so by
Right.
2022
Blew up
there was
in the
a,
bad way. Yeah.
I know, right? And by 2022, we had this crazy demand of not only these delayed weddings, but obviously on top of that, normal people getting engaged as well. And so we had this huge pent up demand. So all of these wedding businesses, prices went up because of the demand. We all had to start hiring more, and maybe we hired a little faster than we wanted to. And so it was a great learning experience to then realize, hey, I need to hire slow, fire fast, and get to you know really start digging into some of these things that I didn't think I need at the time. As a small business, you grow and add on new things like SOPs or training procedures or all sorts of that stuff that you don't think you need when you first start out. And then as you grow, you realize, hey, now's the right time. Sure, it would have been great to have this all along, but I couldn't afford it
Hmm.
at the time, didn't have the time, whatever at the time. And so that's been fun. My wife, we actually own a family medicine practice for her. She's a family medicine doctor, and so she's been in a local chamber of commerce as well. And so there's been some great resources there as well. And I'd really recommend anyone, especially someone who has more of a brick and mortar in a certain local community, that chamber of commerce might be a great opportunity to network, and they'll have great resources as well for a small business.
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic. We're similar in that regard with having, a spouse that's a much more, medical brain, we'll call it, and then the other side being a very creative. And I say this in a lot of my podcasts. I really find that to be interesting, and the success my husband and I have is because we're the yin and the yang. And, you bring both of those components to a business, and it's important to have all sides of that because most people aren't born with both, the intuition of being creative and exploring and growing, and then also having somebody that's more sustainable and really thinking through the details.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think whether it's you get that through a spouse, you get that through a business partner, you get that through a mentor, I think that's really critical to understand. Do a little soul searching of understanding what you're really good and not good at. And sometimes we need that external mirror, or person to say, hey, it's really easy to point out other people's flaws, not so easy to point out your
Right.
own. So having someone who can really call you out and have a real relationship where you can be honest with each other, I think can be so beneficial as a business owner to point out, hey, I really need these resources. I'm willing to pay for, this X thing because I know that I'm deficient at it and that's hindering me from growing.
Gosh, I couldn't agree more. Having awareness around where you're lacking and where you excel can make or break, your entire business. If you
Agreed.
go into it thinking you know everything and you'll figure it out and just get it done, you're going to be way less efficient than if you just realize where you're insufficient and you make up for that in either a partner or hiring out that particular aspect.
Right. And yeah, and nothing's long term forever. Maybe you bring on a product that you're deficient at until you can build it in house or train, an employee to really be able to do that sufficiently, and or just finding the right people. Sometimes it's just a matter of finding someone who really is a great fit for the role, and then they can build out all the, training procedures and documents and build the culture around that element of what what aspect you're lacking in your business, and then we grow from there. So you're absolutely right. It took me a long time to stop being a cheap ass and actually just buy the digital product I need, or do this or that. Lately, for the longest time, I was delaying. I was not willing to jump into texting. I get a prospective lead come in, and the whole goal is to really, occasionally we just book without ever meeting, but typically they need a consult, a call, they need a sales call, and to really lock it in. And that gap, I was always doing through email, and I was turned on to this product, which is first it starts as a text drip, and then as soon as they reply, AI jumps in and has a really good conversation with them, pushing them to a sales meeting, and that honestly has been a huge jump in my business. And it's just like, gosh, I should have. I was trying to figure it out all on my own. I was trying to get the text line approved through, I don't even know the governing bodies, and it's so hard to do. Just pay somebody who knows what they're doing
Who
to
knows
get
what
it
they're
taken
doing?
care of. Yes,
Just the mental energy that can be taken off your plate by not worrying about those things that don't come naturally to you. And just being open to not having to have full control over every single aspect of your business. I'm in some areas I'm hesitant with AI, and then in others it makes complete sense to implement it and button yourself up in these different areas. So I'm all about that.
I agree. I mean, yeah, we all want to protect our brand. We all want to not have our customers see something behind the curtain that we never wanted them to see, and that's what AI without guardrails can really do. But there's companies out there who are really building some phenomenal products that do have those guardrails, that are really specific to your industry, that I think matter the most, to be able to find and implement, and are great products. And I've seen amazing results just in a matter of having this particular product implemented for about 4 months, three months now.
That's awesome. Yeah, you got to explore it and see what works and what doesn't. And if it doesn't, cool, pivot, you learned from it. If it
Right.
works, then holy moly, that's amazing, right?
It is gonna be phenomenal for 26. Yeah, I can tell you that.
That's awesome. Okay, last area that I want to touch on with you because I'm more just curious from my own end. I found you on Instagram, and I'm always curious what the copyright situations are with using people's music and repurposing content. So, for example, I have a couple different Instagram accounts. One of mine, my Vine and Press, will let me use all sorts of music. One of my other business accounts will not, and it'll say like, this is copywritten music. So I have several questions on what you experience as somebody who is using artists like Taylor Swift or Kesha or Chainsmokers. How does that work?
Yeah, so in Meta, you really need a creator account, not a business account. That's allows you to use a lot more music at your disposal. And TikTok is a wild west. They've pulled audio randomly after months and months of having a really successful video up, and then other times they just let it go by. So sadly, in the space where I'm utilizing other content and recreating from it, it's sadly a fine line. I don't have full rights. I don't have the ability to post and monetize really many of these. TikTok does have some level of payouts for stuff that doesn't flag beyond some level, and we typically say it's about 15 to 20 seconds of full audio from any particular source. But once you mash that up, once you pitch it up, pitch it down, speed, slow down, that can change songs as well, which is funny. You actually see some of these pitched up songs be super successful, so much to where, like on TikTok, so much to when the artist will then re-release that at the higher speed because they see how successful it is on these platforms. Because I can't take my mashup and put it on Spotify. Like, they will pull it immediately. I can't put it on Apple Music. I can put it on YouTube and they'll
Okay,
demonetize it.
that was my question because some of your songs I love a good remix. Or like you said, there's been times where I loved a song that I heard on the internet. I go to Spotify and I hear the original and I'm like, oh, I don't actually really care for
No,
that
right.
version.
It's totally different. Yeah, and very rarely some of us can get. I have a really good buddy, DJ Hamster Dance, who is in Minnesota, and he's gotten like one or two of his on Spotify. How it was uploaded, I don't know. whether it's, you're not using the original artist name, you're just using some other stuff, and the algorithm doesn't, catch it. And it can be really successful, millions of listens on Spotify from that. But otherwise, yeah, we have to throw it on YouTube, and anyone with YouTube Music can listen to it, which is great. You can actually you can upload your own music MP3s up to your local Spotify, and then you can listen, remotely. So if you actually search DJ Munition, you'll find a lot of those mashups on Spotify. They're just all grayed out because one guy went and
Okay,
figured
that's
it
what
out and
happened.
uploaded it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly. So he's got all of them he can listen to. A lot of people will message me and be like, "Why is your stuff grayed out on Spotify?" But that's just because one person uploaded it, and for some reason, Spotify then decides that, oh, everyone should be able to search this song just because one guy uploaded it,
So funny.
for his personal,
Okay.
which again is very frustrating. I continue, every 3 4 months I try to get a few of them up there, and they always get pulled down. But yeah, if you I get spin class instructors, workout people, to who definitely are able to use the MP3s. And I have a Patreon for that where you can download the full high quality full versions of these songs. I have my YouTube, which I upload them first on Patreon, and then maybe a week later I'll put them on the full version on YouTube for people to listen. But yeah, it is the challenge with where most people are at, Spotify and then Apple
Hmm.
Music.
Right. Yeah. And then last question. So being on social media for what you're doing is probably pretty important. Have you noticed that? Do you get a lot of business strictly from what you're posting on Instagram and TikTok and such?
It's, because of the reach is, nationwide, or actually worldwide, and I'm definitely down to travel. It's just my fees are significantly more. I'm losing days that I could be working locally, sleeping in my own bed, all those things. Um, don't get me wrong, travel's great. I'm very grateful for it, but it's not as glamorous as it may seem as a traveling DJ. Especially that I can demand the price I can locally. It ends up not making sense to a lot of people. I still get, a few every year from socials, especially again locally. What it ends up being really is social proof, just as much as LinkedIn, just as much as anything else. The blue check mark, whatever it is, where maybe it catches people's eye a little longer, and then they linger and look and dig into your brand a little more. I'm over 50,000 on followers on TikTok, like 35 or something on Instagram. And that's enough, I think, to get people to stop and take a look at your brand a little more. And that's what we need. It's the catch, it's the grab,
Hmm.
that we learn in marketing. And that's what really I use to my advantage.
Right. And some of these events provide great content. So the WM golf event next week, like that's great gold content right
I
there.
know. Yeah, I'll probably set up one early morning on the 16th, and just record a couple mashups while I'm out on the green before anyone's really showing up. And yeah, what a great backdrop. Again, it's going to be beautiful weather and such a large scale event. And yeah, I'm grateful to be a part of it every year. And again, that just feeds the other brand. It's leveraging these large moments for where a lot of other aspects of my business is so critical.
Oh, that's such a good point. All right, we have to wrap up. We're out of time, but where can people find you? Where's the best place for them to search for you?
Yeah, at DJ Munition for my personal brand, and that's like ammunition without the first AM. And then my if you're getting married, looking at Scottsdale as maybe a destination, please look up my entertainment company, engageentertainmentaz.com. And if you're just looking for something, again, you just need a DJ, but still someone professional with great reviews. MyWayDJs.com is the place for that. And I will see you online with a few more mashups.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I'll link those as well. And I hope everyone goes and follows because you're going to get some really good behind the scenes content next week at the golf event.
Yes, it'll be all over the stories. You'll definitely see Travis Kelsey as he comes in and shanks it on 16, but I'll be playing the tunes that the party boy will love.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait to watch it. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate your time. This has been a really fun conversation, and I'm
Y-
excited to, follow your journey along.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. It was great to be a part of it.
Thanks for listening to Nothing Small About Business. Make sure you follow the show so you don't miss the value in upcoming episodes. Share this with someone who's growing, and connect on socials for more.